To access your map data, we're going to go to your class link. You're going to search and find for the map Math Reading Fluency Staff icon. Click that and it'll give you access to the landing platform dashboard for NWA map growth. Within that, we're going to click View Reports, Map Growth Reports. This will give you a complete list of all the reports that the program offers you. Again, we're going to highlight the student profile, student growth goals, and instructional areas to pull those as a data point for us to be using with our students. So first things first, when you scroll down, student profile is right here and it's the one-stop shop for just about everything. Your learning continuum right here, you can group by students and see exactly who's grouped where and with whom. Let's first go to the student profile and understand that a bit. When you get here, you're going to select and delineate down to your class and your campus. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do one of the schools that I work with closely. Once you delineate down and pick your kids and your student in your class, you get to the student profile page right here. At the very top, you can't see right now because I'm hiding the student's name and information. To the right and to the left, there are arrows that you can toggle back and forth. So when you get to the student profile, all you need to do is choose one student, and then again, you can toggle back and forth between all the students rostered to you. This is a kindergarten student named Joshua. We see his comparisons here, we see his instructional errors, and we see his growth goals. Let's go ahead and take an understanding of the student profile really quickly. We have some areas right here, graphs, that help us understand what he is doing in terms of other students. We have a bar here that helps us understand maybe some of his strengths and areas to work in. For his instructional areas, we see his RIT is 130 for data, 130 for geometry, 137 for numerical representations and relationships, and then 146 for computations and algebraic relations. We can see relationships. We can see here that his relative strength is going to be computations and algebraic relationships. Though it's his relative strength, it may or may not be an overall strength. He can have a strength out of his four areas, but still be falling below the norm. When you click any of the instructional areas, what you can see in those is what he's working on or what he should work on. When you get to this landing page, click View Standard. Topics are going to view by topic, but we always work with standards and the TEKS. You can pick all grades. This student is a kindergarten student, so I'm going to pick a grade before and a grade after him. Learning statements, you can show those or hide them. Showing them helps you understand the TEKS and maybe a bit of those scaffolded and sequenced deconstructed pieces of the TEKS. And then over here on the side, we have reinforce, develop, introduce. We can think of develop as what the student is working on right now, ready to instruct right now. Reinforce is maybe about 5 to 10 points below his RIT score. Things he already should have known, things he already knows, things he's already mastered on, but some things you can just reinvigorate, reignite whenever you're teaching. Highlight those skills right there to latch on to the develop. Introduce is about 5 or 10 more RIT points going ahead. So it's almost like the zone of proximal development, right? The develop is what he's doing right now, and with one extra step, introduce is right there. So you can guide him going to introduce and keep working linearly towards his growth goals. Now we can see here we have the topics, the geometry and measurement, and within that, we see all the areas that he's working in, or that he needs to be working in. Some areas of first grade, kindergarten, some areas of pre-K, and you can see what he's ready to develop. So if he's developing these skills, he is working on these right now. If he is reinforcing those skills, it's something you need to just briefly touch on but keep moving on. And again, if it's introducing, it's a brand new skill that he's ready to get, he's almost ready to start working on. And so this is a great point to use as a data point for students that's based in MAP, and it's good for kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade, as it tells you just about everything the kid needs to be working on or has already worked on. Many teachers might use this as a progress monitoring sheet because we have 3 data points within MAP: beginning of the year, middle of year, and end of year. We don't have any in between. So if you print something like this or use this in your classroom for him or a small group of students within his range, you can see check, check, check. It's almost a checklist of progress and monitoring. Now we're going to go back to the student profile. So we're going to exit out. The growth goals right here. We're going to go ahead and click this and expand the window. Now when we're looking at this student, you see a graphic of what he is doing right now and what he did beforehand. Almost always, you'll have a growth percentile point right there, just designed by the system itself. Now that is for 1 year's growth, from now to next year to maintain. Now if a student is really far behind, maintaining his position in place in space is only going to maintain his falling behind right now and be the same falling behind in the next grade and in the next grade. And so to make gains and to close gaps, we need to make 12 years or 12 months, 1 year plus. So 12 months plus 1 or 2 months, 12 months plus 3 or 4 months. And to do that, we can go to the percentiles right here. This right here, 49 growth percentile and a rate growth of 8 by the end of year test, that is his maintaining where he is right now, his 12 months, 1 year growth. Now we can go ahead and manipulate this a bit and change it to 55 or 60. Let's change it to 60 and see. Now we have about 9 points. So if he makes 9 points between now and end of year, he's going to have made 12 months plus some. We want to see more growth than just maintaining. And so you can manipulate this for all of your students to get an understanding of what they need to be going towards the next test. This is really helpful and beneficial to be using at the beginning of year, as it tells you, okay, beginning to middle of year, I need to make 12 points, but in reality, to make more than 12 months, I need to make 14 points. And so when you take the middle of year, if you have that in mind from the beginning, middle of year, if I made my 12 points, well, I made my 1 year's growth so far, or I'm meeting it so far. But if I made 13 or 14 or 15 points, well, then I'm exceeding that and I'm closing a gap. If you make your growth percentile and your RIT growth point by the next test and just that, you are just maintaining and you are not closing any gaps. You're doing the minimum, and that's maintaining 1 year. We want to see them grow, so we need to push that a little bit higher to close that gap. You can use this profile for a variety of things. Let me close out again. Whenever you're setting those goals, you don't want to keep them. You want to make sure the system maintains, so just discard your playing around and manipulation of those points. So when you go back, same thing for math as it is for reading. We have our comparisons to understand where he is. We have our instructional areas, and again, we can click through those to see what to focus on, reinforce, develop, introduce. And we see our growth goals as seeing how we can manipulate that number to see 12 months, 12 plus 1 month, 12 plus 2 months growth.